Hello, I am Stephanie Joy, the attorney at All Things Social Security and Joy Disability Law. Your video is about to start. I just wanted to remind you that if you click the join button below, you can learn more about the memberships offered at a very affordable price that can give you a little more direct attorney answers to your questions. Have a great day and enjoy the video. Hey, good morning. Came across this little issue and I thought I'd toss it out there and see if you guys had an idea of what the response would be. The issue concerned a person who filed for disability, Social Security and or SSI, say in April. As you know, the length of time it takes to get an adjudicator right now, and we're at the end of 2024, is a pretty long time, and it's been like this all year. So at some point, many months later, they finally put an adjudicator on her claim. But in the meantime, someone started working full time because I got this great opportunity for whatever amount of months it would last to do this full-time job. And the question is this a problem? And there is an answer, and I'm going to attach an old video that talks about where that problem is going to be. And as you know, it has to do with the sequential evaluation process and what that now full-time work would do to a claim that is existing. So I will attach that. There's also a few other nuances, but here's the lowdown, the initial lowdown on that kind of fact pattern when someone applies and then tries a full-time job. All right, so take a listen, and if you know the answer to the dilemma, what will it do to her case? Let me know. Bye, guys. Good afternoon. The sequential evaluation process. We will go through the 5 steps, and today it's just the first step. Everyone goes through the sequential evaluation process. It is an organized method of getting from a person applying, where there's no knowledge of whether he's disabled or not, to a determination of whether or not the person is disabled. Well, okay, so this is step 1. It is a very quick step usually, but not always. It is the person working above SGA level? As you know, SGA stands for substantial gainful activity. So obviously, if someone's not working at all or engaging in activity that would otherwise be substantial gainful activity as defined by the SSA, and you can look up that playlist if you want to get a little more details, because sometimes it doesn't matter how much you're earning as to whether it's SGA. But for most people, if they are working part-time or full-time, the SGA question is going to be answered by the numbers. In 2024, this year, the SGA number for non-blind individuals is $1,550 per month. That would be gross, guys, before taxes, before deductions, before paying anything that you would pay out of there, be it for benefits through your employer or what have you. It is the gross amount. There are exceptions to what can separately be deducted out of there in the more rare instances. And that's a video for a different day, because that would be when someone is just over SGA somewhat and they have these acceptable deductions under the SSA law. It has nothing to do with taxes, that can bring them under SGA. So that's totally different area. You can go look under SGA to find that, I believe, and a few other places. But in any event, so first we're going to look at if the person is not working at all and there's no indication that they're doing something that would normally be considered work, but they're just volunteering their time and could be paid but aren't. The monetary amount, $1,550 in 2024, $1,470 in 2023, will decide if that person is SGA. If that person is not SGA, boom, they pass step one, they get to go to step two. You want to get through all the steps with an end result being disabled, okay? And the big important one is step one. I'll give you an example. I had a fellow who was not working at all, serious medical impairments, can't do a lot of sitting or standing at one time, and had multiple surgeries, spinal, and dealt with quite a bit of pain, particularly if he wasn't able to accommodate himself. After his last surgery, now we had a case going. After his last surgery, he got the opportunity to take a job in a field he was familiar with certain angles at that job that would really accommodate him, even if they weren't official accommodations. So it would really help his physical ability to perform it. He started working full time. We were on initial still, and the SSA did find out about it, I think through employer reportings. I found out about it too, and noted to him that this is probably going to, cause a denial, because at the time they're making the decision, step one always has to be in play. In other words, if they find out and you're supposed to report you're working, or your employer will, so it almost doesn't matter. If you are working above SGA, and this gentleman it was full-time, you are not disabled. This is true even if you could later actually appeal that, because you think you might be stopping soon, and then you appeal it while you're, let's say, you have 60 days to appeal for reconsideration. You stop working because it's just too much. Your appeal can go forward. So even though they have to deny you, you can actually keep that case alive, because then it was a failed work attempt, and now it's looked at in a different manner. It's a past failed work attempt. And so that SGA work for that time period, if it suffices as a failed work attempt, which is a whole nother issue, check out the video, won't be the case killer. But at the moment, they're going to deny you. So that will be a denial at step one if you're over SGA. Full-time is generally always going to be SGA. Part-time, it's going to depend on how much you're earning. They also look to see in a very, not so much when you're a W-2er, but certainly if maybe if you're a gigger, is your work activity, would it be SGA if you are paid the kind of value that work activity would be gaining you if you are working for someone else and doing it. This can come into play with self-employment, I think. But anyway, SGA, if you're working while you're applying, you have to pay attention to this. Step one. It's really almost the easiest one to pass. But again, when you have to pay a rent or a mortgage, some people do head on back to work, and then boom, their case is going to get denied, even if they'd already moved into the medical workup office. So the initial application was accepted because they weren't working at that time, and then middle of the medical workup, now at a totally different office, not at the field office that you probably think your case is at, but it's not, is when it came to light, and so the case had to be yanked for a denial. Okay, so, but again, you can appeal that if you want to, and sometimes you buy yourself some time. Am I going to be working long enough at this rate that it will be able to, it will continue, it'll be deemed a successful work attempt by the time the next decision is made, or will it be a failed work attempt and I'll be glad that I appealed? All those things. All right, that's SGA step one of the sequential evaluation process, and stay tuned for step two. Bye-bye now.